So, chapter 11, verse 12. Oh, here we go. Love the story. So this is another example of a sandwich story, where you've got one half of the story here, the other half here, and another story right in the middle. Right, so the two breads, and right? So, here's the first half of the first story. On the following day, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry. And seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to see if he could find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And the disciples heard it. What do we think of the story? Great story. You're laughing. I think it's funny. Jesus is hungry. He looks at the fig tree, wants a fig, which is totally relatable to me.
Oh, is this supposed to be like some metaphor to like the tree in the garden?
There we go. Now we're engaging our theological domains. Is any word in Scripture wasted?
No.
No. So is this story has to be about more than Jesus getting mad that he was hungry. Maybe Jesus was a little hangry and curses a fig tree because there were no figs. Do you think there's more to the story?
Yeah. I don't think that was it. You could just talk about Jesus being angry. I think he was probably mad at the tree because the serpent came out. The serpent ate all the figs.
You think that would be part of the story, right? But you know there's the second half of the story coming, so. Good. All right, keep this in mind. We're going to keep going. And by the way, when we have these sandwich stories, the story in the middle is always directly related. So as we hear this next story, think of how it's related to this, what we just heard about the fig tree. Jonathan, I think it's awfully hard to read with your head down like that. Unless you have x-ray powers. Actually, x-ray wouldn't even do it.
No.
Okay. Wake up, Javante. Chop, chop. Here we go. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Chapter 11, verse 12. Actually, now verse 15. Yes. Yep. And they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those who sold and those who bought in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. And he taught and said to them, Is it not written, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations? But you have made it a den of robbers. And the chief priests and the scribes heard it, and sought a way to destroy him, for they feared him, because all the multitude was astonished at his teaching. And when evening came, they went out of the city. So it looks like we have another story of Jesus getting angry, right? Maybe he's still angry because he didn't have any figs. And I'll tell you what, figs in Israel, they're amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh.
I need to go to Israel. I have grandma who lives there. I need to come to
You have a grandma that lives there?
Yeah.
All right, I know when fall when I go back.
Yep.
Cool. So Jesus gets to the temple, he sees everything going on, gets angry, starts flipping tables and throwing things everywhere, coins are everywhere, birds are flying everywhere, it's pandemonium. Is Jesus sinned in either of these stories? No, right? Can Jesus sin?
Yeah.
No,
No, but he's got it.
right?
And I said, yeah, I can't follow.
You have to stop mumbling, Javante.
I said, I stand.
Oh, sure, yeah. If you need to stand so you don't fall asleep, go ahead and, why don't you stand up in the back?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever it takes to keep you awake, man.
Yeah.
Maybe coffee.
No, I've never done coffee in my life.
You've never done coffee in your
I'm
life?
making sure I'm trying to
Coffee.
Are you
If
sure?
I had to choose between coffee and figs, I'd have to think about it for like 30 seconds,
I think
but then I'd pick coffee.
What?
Coffee, if you're gonna stand, you gotta not talk,
Okay.
unless you raise your hand.
Okay.
Great, okay. How is, besides Jesus being angry in both of them, how is this story connected to the one about the figs?
You angry? Oh, wait, no, you already said that.
He's hangry in both stories.
He's cursing?
Probably.
I don't think he curses in the second one. All right, so let's then go to let's finish this. Yeah.
It could be, so the temple doesn't have any actual prayer going on. It's just people selling things, like the fig tree didn't have any figs.
Oh, yes, all right, keep going. So, oftentimes when we talk about fruit, we can oftentimes use fruit as like a metaphor, right? If I study, the fruit of my study will be passing a test. Very often talk like that. So perhaps there's a connection between those two. Fantastic, go ahead.
So, the story of the fig tree and the temple, the story of the fig tree is both told in Luke and Matthew. The story of the temple is told in Matthew, Luke, and John.
So the fig tree is omitted in John? Is that correct? Okay, good. Good. Is that what your Bible says?
It's in the citation.
Right, let's see. We'll have to see what the story is in John. I think John has a fuller telling of the story of the cleansing of the temple. So when we get there, we'll talk about that. Yes. Yep. All right. So let's finish the lesson of the fig tree. So we're in chapter 11, verse 20. As they passed by in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. And Peter remembered and said to him, "Master, look, the fig tree which you cursed has withered." Jesus answered them, "Have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, 'Be taken up and cast into the sea,' and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will come to pass, it will be done for him. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you will receive it, and you will. And whenever you stand praying, like Javante over there. Yes. Forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also who is in heaven may forgive you your trespasses." Is that really answer? Are we still confused?
Yeah.
You might not be. Good. First time I read this, I'm like, that answer doesn't really make a lot of sense. What's he talking about? All right, so here's the understanding. You were like pretty close. I'm very impressed. The fig tree represents Israel. The fig tree represents Israel. Go ahead.
I just read the citation.
Oh, go for it.
Cursing the fig tree, the parable in action representing Jesus' judgment on the barren Israel and the fate of Jerusalem for failing to receive his teaching.
There we go. Yep. So, Jesus comes and he wants to find fruit. He wants to find the fruit of prayer, the fruit of people turning their hearts to God. And when he goes to the temple, what does he see? He sees not fruit. He sees a withered tree. He sees people they're doing actions, but they're not giving their hearts to the Lord. Remember, it's not sacrifice that God desires, but a heart ready for him.
So it basically represents the corruption of Jerusalem.
Yeah. In which they're no longer falling into idolatry like they used to, right? They're no longer doing that. The exile cleansed them of that. But that doesn't mean now that their hearts are fully given over to the Lord. They still struggle in that way. Do we struggle in that way today? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Right? That's the human condition, right?
Yep.
We struggle to give our hearts over to the Lord. We struggle with all those things that require surrender and trust.
Would you resent idolatrous powers?
Do I what?
Do you resent, and like, I don't think there are any powers, do you resent idolatrous powers?
Do I resent idolaters at powers? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that.
Well, do you despise them in any way, or do you?
Are there idolaters at powers?
No, I'm saying, but if there were.
Would I despise them?
Yeah,
No.
what about an atheist?
No.
But what about if it was like somebody who was just being very forceful about the idea that there is no God, or, God doesn't exist? How would you feel about that?
I would try, I wouldn't feel any different about that, right? I'm gonna try and teach the truth, right? I'm gonna try as best as I can to provide the blueprint for happiness in everyone's life, in all of your lives, right? That's what I want. I want the best for all of you. And I'm firmly convinced that this is the best way for happiness. If you choose a different route, I'm gonna pray for you, but I'm not gonna be mad at you. I'm not gonna try and shove my beliefs down your throat. know, I'm not gonna Bible thump you, I'm not gonna Bible thump you. I just, I'm trying to give you guys the best. And, my job right here, right now, Powers, is to love every single one of you, all 130 of you, best I can, give you the best that I can offer.
130, is that how many?
That's how many freshmen-ish are here.
Somebody's on the same level.
That's true.
So, yeah,
I can do that. I can vouch because I don't know if you picked up on what I've been saying. I'm not a Catholic.
Mhm.
I follow a different religion, but you haven't been like shoving it down my throat. And when I didn't understand something, you kind of explained it to me. And it's been really nice. You're one of my favorite teachers.
Thank you. Thank you. Mhm. Yep. Yes, do you raise your hand? Oh, that was a hand raise. All right, how much time you got?
We got 5 minutes.
Wait, how much time do we left?
We don't have a lot of,
3 minutes.
we don't have a lot of time. We spent a lot of time with that reflecting question.
44.
It is good, it is good. All right,
Yeah. Wait, what time is it? 45.
44.
45. I asked a question.
It's essentially like 6 o'clock slows down. Hey, why y'all talking? It's my class still, right? Okay, we are going to skip ahead a little bit. We're gonna go to chapter 14. So Jesus is now in Jerusalem, right? Palm Sunday's already happened. We've seen a couple of days pass right now, right? So we're probably in, Tuesday of Holy Week, somewhere in that area. Chapter 14. It was now 2 days before the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how to arrest him by stealth and kill him. For they said, not during the feast, lest there be a tumult of the people. All right, so we're almost at the Passover, right? Yes.
Okay, so when Pontius Pilate, whatever his name is, asked like, who should be killed, the people a few days ago were just so happy to see him, and now they want him killed. Why was that?
Good. We'll get there. We'll get there. That's an important piece. That's why I pulled out that piece when he enters Jerusalem, and they're all shouting, "Hosanna in the highest!" All right, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And then just a week later, he's dead. So they kill him. A riot among the people, a tumult, a riot. Yeah. They can tell this Jesus guy,
He needs business.
he means business, right? The people are on edge a little bit. He's an important person. They gotta be very delicate with the situation with him. All right, we're gonna skip ahead again to verse 10. Then Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12, one of the 12 apostles, went to the chief priests in order to betray him to them. When they heard it, they were glad and promised to give him money. And he sought an opportunity to betray him. Now, why did Judas betray Jesus? We don't actually know the answer to that.
Doesn't it just say that he had money?
That what?
That was the money?
Well, they said they promised to give him money, but was his actual deep intention for money?
No, I think he just wanted to be like Jesus.
I mean, there's lots of possibilities. And it's probably a mix of a lot of different things. But why did he do this? I don't know.
In my Bible, it said, then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went off to the chief priests and handed him over to them. And instead of betray, it says hand him over.
Yeah. So that was the idea, was to give him. So they wanted to arrest Jesus in a place where it wasn't going to cause a riot, and Jesus was among the crowds all the time. So how could they do that? So they're finding an opportunity to hand him over. My translation is a little more, I think, spot on, where it's like, you're betraying him. You're stabbing him in the back, essentially. So same thing, but that also, your translation, I think, points more to, gotta find an opportunity for him to actually be arrested. You can't just do it out in the open. Some of the people are riot.
What's your theory on why Jews betrayed him?
What's my theory? My theory is, so the people were looking for a political messiah, right? One who would take the throne. And I think Judas was getting frustrated that Jesus really wasn't doing it the way he thought it needed to be done. That he wasn't really looking for political power. He wasn't looking for that earthly kingship. And you can see this frustration kind of building in him. All the while, I think Satan gets in his ear and starts using that against him. And I think what would a plausible explanation, is it the one, I don't know, I think a good plausible explanation could be he wanted to force Jesus' hand. Do something. The opportunity is perfect, it's Passover, everybody's here, name yourself king, do it now. And he was kind of forcing Jesus' hand to do it. I don't think he actually thought Jesus would be killed. I think he thought Jesus would take that opportunity to then, boom, I'm gonna win the support of the people, we're gonna kick out the Romans here. I think he thought at the end of the week, instead of Jesus being killed, he'd be on top, he'd be king. But it may not have been that way, but that seems plausible. You too, see y'all on Mass.
Father, thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Today we got to
14:10.
10. Yeah.
Now you're not.